Shalom, brothers and sisters. Let's talk for a minute about current news that's coming out of the Middle East, besides the amazing stuff about hostages being released and reunited with their families, which really does something for one's heart. After all this time, to see them just crying and weeping and falling into the arms of their loved ones and just being together again. It really is just the result of so much prayer around the world for this situation. So please continue to pray for the remaining hostages and for the remaining situation and for Israel as a whole in a time such as this, because the prayer of the righteous availeth much. So let's start with what's going on in Syria. The new regime has intercepted Hezbollah weapons more than once, while the IDF is building a new base in the Syrian Golan. On Sunday, the Interior Ministry of Syria's new government, which is dominated by the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, the HTS group, announced its forces had caught a shipment of weapons intended for Hezbollah. Another weapon shipment was intercepted last week in Tartus province near Lebanon's northern border. Pictures released by Syria's General Secretary Directorate showed that the shipment contained sniper rifles, machine guns, AK-47s, grenade launchers, and missiles. So indirectly, Iran is by mistake or on purpose supplying the new government in Syria with some fresh weapons. On Syria's southwestern border, at the same time, the IDF has long prepared for potential wrong steps by the new government after seizing the demilitarized zone on the Golan Heights when the Assad regime collapsed. After Israeli officials announced the IDF would stay there at least through the winter, the BBC published satellite images showing a street leading to the newly built outpost 600 meters inside the DMZ on Syrian territory. They said they're there to stay. They're going to stay on Mount Hermon. They're going to enforce that area for peace and security, stability of that region. And I agree with them. They should be there. They should be in control of that part, because technically, according to the word of God, it belongs to them, including much larger pieces of Syria and surrounding countries as well. Saudi, no, let's leave that one for last. The Iranian octopus is extending its tentacles to fresh countries. Iran's axis of resistance weakened after major setbacks thanks to Israel and Assad's fall, Hezbollah's retreat, Iraq's resistance to Iranian influence, but Iran is now rebuilding the regional network while Israel and the allies are facing a shrinking window to act against it. Iran seeks to strengthen its presence in the Arabian Peninsula, the Horn of Africa, and even Libya. Its ties with Sudan has grown stronger. The Horn of Africa region, including countries like Djibouti, Somalia, Eritrea, and Ethiopia. Ethiopia is part of the Gog-Magog forces that come against Israel, by the way, holds strategic importance for Iran. This region, located near Yemen and along the Red Sea, plays a critical role in pressuring Israel and supporting Hamas. The new generation of the axis of resistance might even include cells in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, and Jordan, where Iran is increasing efforts to open new fronts against Israel. So that's happening. Israel has slammed the newly signed Iran-Russia treaty. We've spoken about that. Those two have become thick as thieves, as dangerous for the entire world. And they are right. And the world will only realize this when the Gog-Magog offensive happens. But while they're going, oh my word, this is dangerous, God is going to deal with the Gog-Magog thing. And then they're going to have to go, oh my word, that is dangerous. It's going to be hilarious. Israel is deeply concerned about a recently signed comprehensive strategic partnership treaty between Iran and Russia. Iran is a country openly and publicly stating many times that it has an intention to destroy Israel. They're living in a dream world. Any cooperation aimed at developing Iran's ability to realize those intentions, or any agreement intended to strengthen Iran's economic, strategic, or military capabilities, is dangerous for the entire world and particularly for Israel, they added. So the interesting thing here is they signed the agreement, and within seconds, Iran was placing orders, and they'll be receiving the latest fighter jets from Russia. So those fighter jets are long overdue replacements for the aging, falling apart, duct taped together F-14 Tomcats. So finally, the poor, graceful, old, beautiful Tomcat that we all fell in love with in Top Gun is going to be replaced by state-of-the-art Russian fighter planes in Iran. Probably the reason to push for that as the first part of the military upgrade is because they watched Top Gun 2 and they realized the Tomcat was going to get stolen by Maverick, and this was just not going to work for them as a country. It's embarrassing. Maybe if it was a MiG, Maverick would have spent more time trying to figure out the controls. They would have caught him. The movie would have ended earlier. So that's probably why. But it is sad too to know that the Tomcats era is coming to an end as it gets replaced by the state-of-the-art Russian MiGs. MiGs intended to be used against Israel, as Iran immediately threatened Israel after this announcement of the MiGs was made. On the other side, the more important side, the Jacob's trouble side, the Daniel 70th week side, the 7-year peace treaty side, the Antichrist side, Saudi-Israel talks are nearing a breakthrough, says new Israeli ambassador to the U.S. Later, who officially began his role on Friday, described normalization with Saudi Arabia as part of a broader realignment in the Middle East. The development will be a game changer for the region and beyond. He confirms a covenant with many. 30 years ago, even discussing such an agreement would have been unthinkable. Now, thanks to the Abraham Accords, strengthens an existing agreement. And changing dynamics, Hamas and Hezbollah wiped out, Iran being really weak at the moment, the Yemeni Houthis knowing they're in trouble. We are on the cusp of a major breakthrough, a deal of the century, a peace agreement to bring peace and security, peace and stability to all the people through someone amazing, which will be broken halfway through and cause chaos, lead to a Holocaust bigger than the original Holocaust, and everyone is going to realize they should have listened to their crazy Jesus freak friends and family while they had the chance. That's the Middle East touch on the basic things I needed to highlight for you. There's a lot more going on in the Middle East. Israel is God's clock. It is spinning at the moment faster than the atomic clock that they can't seem to set correctly. So keep watching, keep praying, and keep looking up. We fly shortly. Shalom.